because we are back with another one. It is the Authority Project. I am Brian S. Arnold here, your host, and I'm here with my new good friend, Calvin Correli. And he says he's going to show you who you are as an entrepreneur, how to know that. Is that right, Calvin?
That's absolutely right. I'm so excited.
Amazing. Also, let's get started on this episode of the Authority Project.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, feast your eyes and tune your ears. It's that time again. We are live with another episode of The Authority Project. It's the video podcast streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Periscope, where we talk to digital marketers, business coaches, and creators of all kinds on how they've built authority in their field and how you can mimic their success. Developing authority, building your audience, and attracting better clients to your own business. Now, without further ado, let's bring to the virtual stage your host, Brian S. Arnold.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back with another one. It's the Authority Project. I am Brian S. Arnold, your host, and you are the project. We want to slap authority to your name so you can sell more of what you're great at. And I am blessed and honored here to have Mr. Calvin Correli in the virtual stage with us today. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing so well. How are you doing?
It's a great day. It's a great day. No worries today. It's a stress-free day. So let's get started. Calvin, let's get started first of all with who you are, Calvin. Who is Calvin Correli personally and then professionally?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. And the reason I love that question is because that's something that I've really struggled with, like struggled to figure out who I really am. I think, and there's so many ways to answer that question, right? So, like, I'm pure awareness, but like I will say, like, I'm a spiritual teacher. I'm here to be first and foremost a spiritual teacher, which is something that it took me quite a while to realize because I thought I was just here to be a software engineer, right? A
Mm,
software guy, maybe an entrepreneur, but at some point there was a whole other world that opened up to me and I had no idea that that was lying in wait for me.
wow, wow, amazing. And so, does this constitute a daily routine? Which is my second customary question. What does your daily routine look like right now?
Oh boy, it's so funny because I go kind of go in and out of it. Sometimes I do like have a very rigid daily routine system, like
Yeah.
wake up time and bedtime and morning ritual and all that stuff. And other times I don't. I get like, ugh, it's too much for me, and I
All
throw it
right.
all out the window, and then I get back into routine. I do work out every day. I work out
Mhm.
every day. I eat healthy and clean. I make sure that I get a good 8 hours of sleep. I take my sleep very seriously. Um, but yeah, my also with my travel schedule right now, I'm in Utah for some power paragliding, and so
Nice.
we get up at 5 a.m. and meet out when the sun rises, and then we meet again at sunset. And so that obviously impacts my daily routine.
Of course. Of course. All right. This is great. So awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. So let's get right into this topic now. How how does one know who they are as an entrepreneur? Are we talking about like knowing your niche? You know, the big thing about knowing your niche. What do you mean by this? How do we know who we are as an entrepreneur?
I think so. The way I think of it is like who you are at your core and what you're here to do, right? What's your purpose? Why did you decide to take another go at it and on this planet Earth at this point in time, right? What was it that you wanted to learn or accomplish or like or share or give to people? What was that? And I think that's so important for us as entrepreneurs to have a really deep sense of and clear sense of our deepest why, because it's challenging enough being an entrepreneur, right? It's going to consume our lives for, decades probably.
Yeah.
It's going to involve a bunch of other people helping us and working on it. And if you're not doing something that you feel is what you were put on this planet to do, what the hell are you doing, right? Like, why are you wasting your time and everybody else's?
I love it. I love that. Okay. So I think I'm gonna go through these different questions a little bit differently here. So I want to feed off of that. So I feel like we all originally know what we want.
Hmm.
Maybe somewhere in our childhood time, maybe during our high school years or whatever, we kind of know where we want, and then this life comes at you fast, right? So we need money, we get into a relationship that goes all over the place, we get kids, and then our original dream gets like, lost in the shuffle, right?
100%. Yeah.
Um, how do we get back to those hard things, like you said, the core things, where we believe again in those original things that we desired the most?
Yeah. Introspection, right? You have to dig inside. It's so common to look outside for answers all the time, right? Podcasts, books, YouTube, you
Yeah,
know, conferences, speakers, whatnot. And to really learn, and Twitter, social media, like stuff is coming at us all the time so much. We have to make sure we take time to just look inside, get bored, right? Super bored, nothing to do. We've forgotten how to be bored these days, right?
yeah.
And to ask those questions of yourself, like, what am I here to do? What is it I truly want? For me, I didn't know what I wanted. And one of the reasons was that I had trouble feeling. So those those answers come to us through our feelings. But if we are not able to feel, we're not going to get those answers. Like it's very important to get out of your mind because your mind is not going to give you good answers to these questions.
Wow. So why do you feel it's so hard to figure it out? I mean, what do you think, as far as even your experience of people that you know, or maybe some of the people that you teach, how do you think why it's so hard to figure out what we want? Because I think finally my son has figured it out, but I couldn't really show him. I was like, I can give him some examples, but how did you get to the point where you figured it out?
For me, it was I sat down a moment in February of 2008. That was sort of the big shift for me. I was struggling so bad in all kinds of areas. I had like financial issues and relationship struggle, all kinds of stuff. And I decided to just throw it all aside, sit down, and ask myself some questions. And it was like what you were talking about. What were my dreams as a kid, right? Or what kind of people do I love being around? What kind of activities do I love doing that give me energy? Um, what moments do I remember from my past where I felt really alive and that I really loved? Questions like that. And that's when it leapt out at me that what I'm here to do is to integrate spirituality and entrepreneurship. So my spirituality is at the heart of what I do as an entrepreneur. But I think that what I realized too was that I was actually scared of looking. I think a lot of us have unconscious fears. My fears was like, and they're irrational. It was like, well, what if won't like what I find that I'm here to do, right? Or what if
Yeah.
I can't find it, or it takes so long that like it feels like it might as well not matter. Um, all irrational stuff, but I think there's a reason that we don't, that we get so consumed in all of the outer stuff, all of the Twitter and the social media and all that, instead of looking inside. It's like we're actually scared of what we're going to find.
I like how you said that, and I want to broach this question in maybe like a two-part kind of thing. How do we complex it up? How do we make it complicated? We just complex it everything up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think people, we like you said, we see social media, we see opportunities that hit us like crazy, like make so much money being this kind of type of entrepreneur in 30 days and 90 days, whatever. And then everything that we were doing seems, we say, well, maybe this is easier for me to do this, and then maybe I'll get back to that. Do
Mhm.
you think that we get we get tested that way too often when we look at things in this way?
Yeah, I do, and I mean, I fall for it as well, right? Like you look out there and you're like, oh, that's great. Like, maybe I should do that, or like this thing, and you just, and then you have FOMO and like all these things. I think it's important to remember at the end of the day, like no amount of money, like happiness doesn't come from having a ton of money or even having achievements or business success. you know what's valuable in life is knowing who you are, feeling that love for yourself inside, and then relationships, other people. doesn't matter at all how much money you have in your bank account or how successful you are as an entrepreneur. That's not where happiness comes from. And
Yeah.
just freaking remember that. Like, having perspective on what matters and what doesn't.
So, okay, so can you give us a blueprint? How do we make this simple? Like right now, when somebody is watching this now, listening later, how do we make this simple where this is how you get to a point where you know exactly who you are as an entrepreneur?
Yes. Super simple. Ask the question. Ask the question, like, who am I? What am I here to do? And then wait for an answer. You want to look for an answer that doesn't come from your mind. It comes bubbling up from somewhere inside. So if you live with that question and just like wonder about it and try to maintain a state of wonder around this question, you can put it up as post-its in various places around your house and just wonder about it for like a couple of weeks or however long it takes until you start to get something. That's the process. Essentially, you need to ask the question and then listen for that subtle voice that will bring you an answer. And it might not have a fully formed, a complete answer. It might be a feeling. It might be just some clues or something, but pick up on that. That's going to be your path.
Cool. So let me ask this question, because this always drives home with me when I watch the Shark Tanks, and it's always kind of like, I don't know, it bothers me sometimes when they say, like, you know what, they look at these people and like they'll say, you're not an entrepreneur,
Right.
those kind of things. It's like, what does that really mean? Is there validity to that? Is there a thing where this person, because of maybe his makeup or whatever, he's not going to be an entrepreneur? Or do you feel like everyone has that gift to do this kind of thing?
That's a great question.
That's a big pause.
I think probably the way I think of like what is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is someone who makes stuff happen. Let's
Yeah.
be PG.
Yeah.
With limited resources, right?
Yeah.
That's how I think of it. And I think anybody can be an entrepreneur. Is anybody like going to be an entrepreneur to create, a $100 million company or $1 billion company? Probably not, right? And I think there's a lot of people right now who want to be entrepreneurs because it's cool. So I think it's a matter of being honest with yourself of what you want. But I would never, shout at someone and say like, you're not an entrepreneur. I think that I don't think that's helpful. Yeah, but what you want to find out is what actually makes me happy. I have a coach that teaches me leadership. He's a former Navy SEAL, and he's given me a definition of success that I love, which is success is an optimized daily experience, sustainable over time.
Nice.
What I love about that is it puts the emphasis on the current moment, your daily experience. Do you have a daily experience that fills you up, right? That really works for you? Then you're freaking successful. Doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or not. Doesn't matter if you have $1 billion or not, right? Your success is a feeling that you can have every day. It's not a destination. It's not out in the future. It's not somewhere out there. And look at it that way, and then just be like, well, what gives me that feeling of success? Is it, being an entrepreneur? Is it working for someone else? What is it today? Maybe it's something else today from it's going to be a month from today or a year from today.
I love how you're taking out some of the stress. 'Cause I think people get stressed out about it. They're like, because they feel like, I think that question pops up as like, can I really do this? And I think putting it in that context of where, what is going to make you happy is really something that I'm trying to really focus on and show others, like, what is the closest thing to your heart that you can drive on? Because I think the closer you are to your heart, the easier it is to produce.
Yeah. And that's the other thing about entrepreneurship. To me, it's like, yes, money, obviously, business, we need to make money and have some profits. But the purpose for me of a business is to serve some purpose. Like, what is it? What is the change you're trying to make? That's why we become entrepreneurs, right? We want to contribute something to others. We want to add value. We want to bring something into existence that didn't exist before. And that's why you become an entrepreneur. And so, like, if that's what you got to do to bring it into existence, then that's what you got to do, right?
Right, right. So, what do you say to people who, they see you, you see that you're the founder of some Simplero, I'll put that up there. You have a new company coming out pretty soon. You say, yo, this guy is already successful. This guy already, he's already, you know, doing well. What, you know, how can I still get there and have this driving belief that it can happen for me? What is the gap? Is there a gap that you see?
You know what? So, fun fact about me is I changed my name. So, I was born and raised in Denmark, and the name my parents gave me was Lars.
Okay.
That was my name, and I changed the whole damn thing. And the name that I chose was Calvin because of Calvin Coolidge,
Oh,
like 30th president of the United States. He has this quote that says, the only thing that is worth anything, I forget his specific phrasing, is it
yeah.
persistence and determination. Like genius will not save you. Like education will not do it. Talent will not. Persistence and determination. And the reason I picked that was because that quote from him was what kept me going for so many years, where I was asking myself that question: will I make it? Do I have what it takes? Right. Um, and I just decided, well, if persistence and determination is good enough for Calvin Coolidge to become the president of the United States, then I bet it's good enough for me. Like, if it matters to you, keep going, keep at it, just hang in there. You will make it happen. And that's too is why, to me, it's so important that what you're doing is something that you feel is why you were put here on earth. Because before that moment of finding what I'm here to do in integrating spirituality and entrepreneurship, I would try this thing. And then when it didn't work out and I didn't make money from it, when I didn't become quote unquote successful in financial terms, I would throw myself over the next idea, the next idea, and the next shiny object. But
Right.
once I had the sense of this is what I'm here to do, then I stuck with it. And I stuck with what I was doing, and everything started to gel together. Even though I was doing multiple projects, they had a common theme, and that made all the difference.
That's great stuff. Great stuff. Okay. So my last question, my last couple of questions here starts like this. What if the person here is already in the thick of it? So they're
Mhm.
doing, they're doing this, that, and the other. They're pushed to the edge because they're doing, maybe they're doing running a podcast. They're doing this, trying to manage this Facebook group. They're trying to, you know, do coaching, group coaching and speaking and everything else. And so they're like, okay, which are which are all is fine, but they're spread too thin. What do you say to people who, like, okay, they're in the thick of it? How do we begin to filter out some of those things so that it's actually, you know, fun again,
Yeah,
fun to do the things that they love?
exactly. It has to be fun. It really does, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, take inventory of what are all the things that bleed you, that drain you of energy, that don't feel fun, that feel like work, something you have to do, and start eliminating them just one at a time.
Yeah.
Do I really need to do this? Can I delegate it? Can I automate it? Right.
Yeah. Great stuff. And that brings me to my next question. Maybe we talk about Simplero. It was so it's about automating. What brought you to this company, or making this company? What was the origins of why you wanted to do this for? And we have a lot of people, coaches and consultants that listen to the show,
Yeah.
course creators, of course. You know, why make this for them?
It came directly out of that moment of finding my purpose to integrate spirituality and entrepreneurship. So, what that means to me is that you learn to question your thoughts and beliefs, that you learn to feel your feelings, not suppress them, not vomit them out, but just be with them, that you learn to expand your heart, your capacity for love, that you learn to be in the present moment so you're not stuck in the past or like way too far out in the future. and finally that what you're doing is what you were put on this earth to do, that you're living your life purpose. And what I realized is that so many other people I knew who are entrepreneurs were struggling with those same things.
Mm,
And so I wanted to teach everything that I had learned up to that moment, working with therapists and coaching and spiritual teachers and whatnot, teach that to other entrepreneurs.
yeah.
And that's when I discovered online courses in 2008. And I was like, this is amazing because I'm a software engineer and I can
Right,
do this stuff online, right? That's
right.
that's easier for me. And so I just started doing that for myself, teaching, and then gradually build a platform because I felt like I could build a better platform than what was out there. And then it's just been growing slow and steady.
Awesome stuff. Awesome. So amazing stuff, man. This has been great. I love because I think a lot of people don't hear this. They hear, they hear the the blueprints, the methods, the strategies, but I think they miss the hard things. They miss the core values and how it's important, and that I think gets lost too much. So I am so grateful for you
Yeah.
bringing in this topic for us today.
Yeah.
So
And it
yeah,
really helps too with like so many people talk about the emotional roller coaster of
yeah,
entrepreneurship, right? Oh, I had a great day. Yay, I'm on top of the world. And I like now like I feel terrible. Like learning to your thoughts and your emotions, learning to question your thoughts and learning to process your feelings, that takes the sting out of the emotional roller coaster, which is so important to me. And knowing what you're here to do so that you can compare yourself against or evaluate yourself against like, am I executing on my purpose versus comparing yourself to other people who may be making a truck ton more money than you, but are here for a completely different purpose, right?
yeah, yeah. Great stuff. That's awesome, man. I have just one last question. I ask this of all of my guests. Goes something like this: there are people who are watching you now that will be listening to you later, and they wanted to maybe do some of the same things that you're doing, helping people with entrepreneurship, and they basically want to do what Calvin does. Okay. Can you tell them in your own words, now put you front and center, how they can become an authority in this space?
Yes. Um, you need to know who you are, right? You need to know what you're here to do and why, and then what special abilities you bring to the space that nobody else does. What is your unique version, your unique take, your unique contribution? And then once you go out there and you come from a place of wanting to serve people, then everything's going to start taking off.
Perfect. Perfect. Amazing stuff, man. Absolutely incredible. So everybody, please make sure you check him out. Please tell us where they need to go after the show to find out more about you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Go to my website at calvincorreli.com and sign up for my newsletter there as we can stay in touch. You can follow me as well on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and all those places. And then for Simplero, all in one platform for anything information marketing from a PDF to courses to high-end coaching programs and whatnot, go to simplero.com. SIMPLERO.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Amazing stuff. People, make sure you get the hold of this person. Just incredible. I'm glad we got it situated to get you on. It took a while. We got you on here, but I'm grateful to have you on the show, and I'm sure a lot of people will get a lot out of it. This is something that most people need to really, really hear, especially with the struggles of being an entrepreneur. I just feel like it doesn't have to always be so hard, so
No,
stressful.
right. So true.
I think if we get this right, and get going back to, like you said, the core of what we really want, I think we can get to a point where we can get to that happiness mode that we all really want to embark on and really fulfill in our lives.
100%, man. Anytime there's stress or struggle, it's like time to feel your feelings and question your beliefs. And then you get back to center and back to peace and
I
joy.
love it. I love it. Awesome. People, make sure you check out Calvin Correli. Amazing stuff. And check out all his content. Get a hold of him. He's doing great things. And he has another you have another business that you didn't point out. But I mean, if you want to share that too, you can go right ahead.
Yeah, so I'm really interested in health and the physical health as well. So I'm launching a meal replacement powder called Body Meal. It's bodymeal.us, and a workout called PAFI. So that's actually at BVA.fit, BVA.fit. So this is a partnership with one of my big mentors. He's a body therapist from Denmark, former karate champion. He developed both the meal replacement and the workout. And they're just freaking phenomenal, like genius shit. So sorry.
Okay. No worries. Okay, great. I'm gonna make sure we put that on the post too. So that really caught my eye. So I'm glad you put that out there.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out too. We'll put that in the notes, and we'll go from there. All right, everybody. As I always say, we're gonna get out of here. Remember. Build it, share it, and they will come. We'll see you next time. We're out of here. Peace.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap for this episode of The Authority Project. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you like what you heard, we want to hear from you. Subscribe, rate, and give an honest review. Share and tell your friends so they can hear too. And for even more authority building tactics, be sure to sign up at theauthorityletter.com. Get free weekly content and ongoing digital product giveaways to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. We certainly hope you got a key takeaway, or maybe an aha moment from today's broadcast. Just remember, it's your authority. Build it, share it, and they will come. Until next time.